So this video is about allergies. If you are someone with terrible allergies, or grew up with asthma, or suffered from seasonal allergies, from dog allergies, whatever, I'm with you. I was the same way. As a kid, I took multiple medications in order to mitigate the symptoms of my allergies, much to no avail, and with lots of side effects. Frustrating, obviously, but as you most likely noticed if you've already started the diets I recommend, which are low carb and carnivore, you more than likely have experienced some allergy benefits. I have a cat and a dog. Could not have done that without eating the way that I eat. In fact, when I stray from eating the way that I should eat, my allergies come right back. My cat allergies were severe, depending on the breed of cat. Dogs, never even tried. Like, I knew 2 dogs growing up, my friends' dogs, that didn't give me allergies. Literally lost friends because they got a dog and I can't go to your house anymore because I'm so allergic. Family parties, you go over for Christmas and they've got 2 or 3 dogs and you spend the entire evening on the back porch freezing your butt off but not sneezing. So yeah, that was the severity of my allergies, and I'm not exaggerating. I wish I were, but it's the truth, and I'm happy to report that I'm not that way any longer. I still am allergic to horses, as far as I'm aware. I don't often test my limits, but I will give you a cool little anecdote about that in just a second. But I was so severely allergic to horses that I remember one time, this was in my late teens, early 20s, when I was just starting to take care of myself with a better diet. Family party where I didn't know one of my aunts works with horses, and she came to the party having just gotten off of work and gave me a hug, and I just left the family party because what else could I do? I couldn't breathe. Throat swelled up, had to use an inhaler immediately, take some allergy medication, and just, that was the end of my day. But that's, I think, probably a pretty common experience, at least for many of the people watching these types of videos, because if you're here, you're curious about how to deal with your allergies without taking a bunch of medications, or you found that the medications have either lost their effectiveness or never really did what you hoped they would do. So again, I posted a video the other day talking about how my ADHD was mitigated by consuming a low carb diet, and YouTube didn't like it and would not promote it. So probably same experience here, but it's still worth putting out for the few people that will actually get to watch it, because I know when you find a gem that really changes the way you approach things, it's worth repeating and trying to get the message out. So for me, low carb diet, huge support in order for me to reduce and almost get rid of my cat and dog allergies entirely. Then you can cut that back to carnivore, and you'll see another bump in improvement and bump in tolerance for what would have otherwise given you an allergic reaction. And then on top of that, this is the interesting recent development, because I have implemented the strategy of Dr. Sean O'Hara, which is fermented foods. Now, I can't necessarily say it's the fermented foods themselves, because what I'm doing is taking, I'll drink a fair amount of raw kefir, however you want to call it. It's goat milk kefir that my wife's uncle actually makes. He has his farm and does that. It's fantastic. So I drink a bit of that every day. And then on top of that, I'm also taking probably like 2 to 3 shots throughout the day of apple cider vinegar. And it's not the Bragg brand, it's like some other smaller brand. Because the Bragg brand, I know, bad news if you don't know this already, Bill Gates took that over, so won't get into that. But yeah, you know how he does the whole processing of apples with disgusting film over them. So I can't really trust that brand anymore. And then on top of that, basically the changes that I've made to my diet have been very minimal, but the change in my allergies has been rather drastic. I just mentioned earlier that I can't even go near people who rode a horse recently. The other day I petted a horse for the first time in my life, which is fantastic news for me as someone who, you don't want to not be able to interact with animals. That's terrible, but that's in large part how I spent the majority of my childhood and early adulthood. And now that's a thing of the past. I'm not going to go ride a horse because I don't want to test my luck. But the fact that I petted one the other day, where before I couldn't even walk near one without breathing in and immediately getting an allergic reaction. So things are changing, headed the right direction, and I attribute that in large part to the implementation of fermented foods in my diet. Again, all I've really done is, raw yogurts and kefirs plus apple cider vinegar, and then sticking to a carnivore diet. So when I say carnivore, I do mean low carb. I know there's a lot of like animal-based people out there who call themselves carnivore, and they say like, eat all the fruit you want, like Paul Saladino and others. And if that works for you, cool. But I think you should experiment, because I've experimented and I've done the, lots of fruit with carnivore, and I wish it worked, but I got joint inflammation. Almost immediately joint inflammation. My skin broke out. I can't say it really affected me mentally so much, but I can say that, it definitely gave me some undesirable reactions in regards to my skin, my joints hurting, that's in large part what my experience. And that's, again, if that doesn't happen to you, awesome, congratulations. But it did for me, and I did long enough trial period where I thought it would be potentially beneficial, and it wasn't. I didn't notice improvements. I only saw some negatives. So obviously fruit tastes good, so that was fun, enjoyed it, but it's not for me. And again, I recommend this to anybody who's suffering with allergies. Reduce your carbs, reduce them, number one. Number two, throw in those fermented foods that I suggested, both the apple cider vinegar, and if you can access raw fermented dairy, do that. And then stick to your low carb diet, carnivore preferably, and report back, because this is the kind of stuff that doesn't cost a thing in addition to what you would normally eat, and probably will reduce your grocery bill, to be perfectly honest, because it is highly restrictive, and you're going to end up benefiting a ton from restricting the things that would otherwise make you suffer. So I hope that helps, and I hope you learned something new, because this is the kind of information that I wish I would have had, as a 12-year-old. Instead, I'm sharing now, and that's part of the reason why I share these both on TikTok and YouTube, because if kids can ever see these kind of things and it's beneficial, save yourself a lot of time in high school suffering through allergy medications and all that junk that you don't really need to go through. And that doesn't mean get off your medications. It means try this out and see if there's a benefit to it, and then talk to your mom, dad, whoever's your caretaker, whatever, your doctor as well, and say, look, I don't need as much allergy medication, or I think I'm going to try to wean myself off this and see how I do. I got off of 4 acne medications in 2 weeks. I'd been taking acne medications for 5 years, from the age of 15 to the age of 20. I was taking so much acne medication, my skin cleared up in 2 weeks just from doing a low carb diet. And it was peanut butter and whole milk. It wasn't like I was eating super clean. It's just that I was very inflamed from eating a high carb diet. So you'll find your way, but I just hope I can be a little bit of a guide on the way there. Good luck, and try this out. And if you got comments to report in the YouTube comments, or if this is going on TikTok, I don't think it is, these are super long, then share your story so we can discuss and make some improvements as a team. Cool, have a good one. Bye.